All right, good morning, guys. Today we're looking at higher HYRE. It's looking okay. It's got a pretty good run up here, going from 80 cents to about $1.42. So it's looking pretty good. It should continue this run on open. We've got Ruby here. A little bit of a consolidation today. Not a whole lot going on with that. We've got a low of $1.05 there and a high of $1.21. We have FWBI here with a low of $3.45 and a high there of 460. So we've got a decent range. It is trending down a little bit here, but it might break out of that. APDN, kind of the same story here, 270 to a high there of 360. Looks like it also consolidated quite a bit. It might drop down to this 200 EMA before a bounce. We've got drug going from $1.80 all the way up to 217 here. So it's looking okay here as well. Looks like it broke above that 200 EMA, breaking above that VWAP slightly before open, which is definitely a good sign. ONVO hitting lows of about 262 with a high there of 340. So again, we have a decent range. It is trending down again after consolidation, so this isn't necessarily bullish. But if we see this turnaround, maybe it's worth playing. CMTX, not a whole lot of price action, not a whole lot of steady volume, so I'm not really expecting a whole lot out of this today. And we have IC here with a low of $9.90 and a high there around $14.27. So the range is okay on it. This could be a winner. It might be a while before you see some good profits on it, unless it starts moving pretty quickly. But again, we'll have to check that on open. Besides that, I think higher is looking the best, and that's probably what we'll be aiming to play. So, since we're gonna have a bunch of new people in today, especially from the people that are here for free, the alerts flow through this live trading channel. Some things to note are your stop loss and your entry are going to be dependent on yourself. My entry, or what I put through as an entry, isn't necessarily what I'm getting in at. It's very quick, so we're just kind of making rough estimates of where we get in and where we get out. Your stop loss should match your entry, not my entry per se. So if I call an entry at $2 and a stop loss at $1.90, and you guys get $1 or $2.02, you should be at $1.92 stop. So you should have the same range of a stop, but it should be altered to fit where you get in. So just keep that in mind as we go. Take as many plays as you can, as many as you're comfortable with. The first 10 trades will be real trades on our challenge account. The rest of them are just going to be alerts because I'll be out of trades at that point on our cash account, but I usually keep going for the full hour. So we'll have to see how that goes. Hopefully we get some good trades early on here. So the market's opening higher. Looks like it might make a move here. If it comes back down, hopefully down to VWAP. I'm not sure if it will though. Might just break down to about $1.35. I think that's where I'm going to be looking to jump in on this. So I'm going to go higher, $1.35, $1.50, and then $1.30 stop. So looks like it's already jumping up a little bit here. I think I just messed up the tracker with one button there. Did I actually just do that? I think so. All right, one sec. I got to reload the tracker here. So it looks like we're getting close to that entry point. Okay. Higher, hitting that $1.35 area now. You could wait a little bit longer if you want to, or you could jump in right here, $1.35. We've got Ruby also looking pretty good, so I think we're going to jump in on Ruby as well at $1.13. Going to try for $1.20 and then $1.10. So remember, we do scale out of positions. So if you do jump in, make sure you start to scale out, even with just a little bit profit if you're not feeling too comfortable in the trade. It's $1.13. So we did break down there to about $1.31. So depending where you got in, so I got $1.32. So at the $1.32, we'd probably be looking at $1.27 stop, which is going to be right on that line, of course. We'll just go ahead and move that just slightly below that line and turn it red. So that's where the stop is going to be. Hopefully this bounces off VWAP. If we see this break down past VWAP, you could take a quick exit on it. Ruby bounces off that $1.13 mark. Currently at $1.15. FWBI not doing much. APDN looks like it's going to bounce as well here. So we could probably try an APDN trade as well. We're going to be looking to get in near that 200 EMA, so $3. Going to go for about 330 with a 290 stop. I know that first candle got wicked on really hard, almost down to 290, so we want to make sure that we account for the volatility there. Already up to 310, and that was APDN. So this could go all the way up to 330 pretty quickly here. Higher at 131 still. We broke down a little bit from that VWAP. Body still maintaining above so far. Ruby still at that $1.13 level. FWBI starting to curl up as well, but we're going to just keep it to the 3 plays right now. Going to start to scale out of APDN. APDN. 320-ish. Okay, so we're at 320. Ruby all the way down, so we're going to be stopping out on Ruby. That's a $1.10 stop. We've got higher starting to move back up finally, so we did catch the bottom there. Looks like it's starting to move up now. We've got APDN down a little bit from that 320 area. Not looking too bad. IC, yeah, IC's right at that 200 EMA. It's not looking too bad either. The volatility, $13, 12.20. It's got an okay range to it. Drug also made a nice run up there. It's all the way back down. Just touched that VWAP at $2 or $1.98 there. That could be another potential play. Higher is currently at $1.38 from our $1.32 entry. That's a good place to start to scale out, so I do want to take a little bit out there at $1.38. Could have had an even better entry, which would have made that probably closer to 10 cents, but that's okay. APDN coming back down a little bit after touching at 322. We've got FWBI sitting high. Drug is something I do want to take a play on, so we're going to go ahead and get into drug here. But I'd like to get in $2. 202 might be, or 201 might be a good enough entry here. We're going to go for a 2, at least a 210, and then we're going to go for a 190. We're going to go for a 197. So we're going to give it, we'll give it a 196. So we're going to give it 4 cents. So 196 is going to bring it right here. You could theoretically give this up to 6 cents as a stop. I don't really necessarily want to do that. But if you think that you need to give it that little bit more room, you could definitely do that. We're getting a $2 entry here. Morning. ATGX or ATXG. Okay, let's take a look at ATXG. IC back up to $13 here. Oops. ATXG. Nope, not interval. There we go. ATXG sitting pretty low right now. Still pretty high on that price range. We'll have to come back to that. Maybe that'll be something we have to play. APDN back up here near that 320 area. So if you missed taking profits the first time around, giving it to you again. Higher still not looking too bad. It does look like it's going to come back down to VWAP. Maybe we have a decent opportunity to jump in with a higher share count here if we want to. APDN looks like it's going to also come back down a little bit here. This is a pretty bearish candle. FWBI coming back down to that 200 EMA at 383. We hit a range there of 405, so the range is too tight to really play. Looks like we're going to be stopping out on drug here as it breaks down. We got caught in that volatility right back up. So that was a 196. I'm a little salty that stopped us out because it went right back up, but we'll give it a minute here. Maybe we'll find a better entry on it. Apple for trading? Like the company Apple? I think it's okay if you're doing like options or something. Well, I didn't know if the Apple was just a ticker itself or something. How many shares to buy? Okay, so we're doing a challenge right now. So we're doing a cash account challenge. We're doing about 5% of the portfolio per trade. It's a $5,000 account, so roughly $250 per trade. So that's the best way to figure out the share size to use. Oh, got you. Not to trade the stock Apple, but Apple computers for trading. Got it. Yeah, Apple. If you boot it up with Windows, it's worth it. If you stay on Macs, a lot of software doesn't really like Mac for whatever reason when it comes to trading software, so it's kind of a pain. But I like the M1 Pro chips. I think they're really good. Hire's back down here to about $1.30. We could look for a re-entry. Yeah, I was thinking rehire or re-entry on hire. IBKR, for instance, doesn't really like Macs. Most brokerages, for some reason, have some like glitches with Macs. So we're gonna go higher here. $1.30. I don't know. This is breaking down a little too much here. I think we might wait a moment. I'd rather get a higher entry than watch this break lower as soon as we buy in. Ruby sitting pretty low, APDN. Looks like it's bouncing off that $3 and headed back up to around that 320 range. And drug looks like it's taking its time here too to start moving back up. ONVO is heading down. We do have CTMX with some moves up. The price action's not that bad. Volume seems to be holding pretty good. So this could be a runner for the day. CMTX. I'd like to think about getting in around $1. See, we can only really give it about 4 cents on this. So let's go for $1.70 entry. I want to go for about $1.80 for a PT, and then we're going to go for $1.60, $1.66 stop. That makes sense to me. If we can get a little lower, you can move that stop loss down a little lower. I'm not sure if you will get a little lower than $1.70 though. And this is CMTX, and I missed something on that alert, so it didn't go through the way I wanted it to. CMTX, $1.70, $1.80, $1.66. There we go. That should have came out properly that time. Okay, so higher does look like it's holding here, which is definitely a good sign. Considering getting back in. IC doing well, yeah, almost $14 on IC. Maybe we do play it on the next pullback. I think it's got enough range to it that we could probably see some decent profits on it. Almost at $1.70 here on CTMX. Wow, I got that backwards anyway. It's CTMX, not CMTX. CTMX. I swear sometimes I'm dyslexic. How many shares of CTMX? Let me check. 150. Oh, for IC? Yeah, it's based on the value. So it's roughly about $250 per trade right now. I think it might be 260 at this point, but about 250. So you can go on IBK and you can switch it to dollar amount if you want to follow along like that closely. But yeah, you're looking at about $250 a trade right now. We haven't really moved up much since the weekend. Higher broke a little bit lower there, so I don't really want to touch that. CATMX is looking pretty decent here, and we have APDNs. We're still holding on to some APDN here. Yeah, I'm not really seeing much else. I think IC is going to be something that we have to play. ONVO we're not going to be touching. Drug still has a potential to come back. FWBI, the range here isn't really fantastic yet. I think we're looking at maybe 20 cents best. We'll leave it open because you never really know, but I think IC is making its way up to the top of the charts here. Oh, higher. You got to do something positive here. CTMX is looking all right. Oh, it doesn't let you do dollar amount. Gotcha. Can I say when I enter IC? Yeah, I'll say when I enter IC. Going to be looking to probably get in around VWAP. We might get in a little bit higher, like $13 flat, because we see a lot of support in that area. So that's probably the area we're going to be looking to get in at. 1325, 1323, 1320. APD and random jump. Yeah, it was a little bit of a random jump. A little bit of momentum there. Looks like it might be pushing back to positive ground on that MACD. Drug as well. Looks like we might be bottoming out on IC, but I want to wait just a little bit longer here. Might see something move. No, okay. Looks like we got to jump in on IC. I'm going to do that now. IC, so 1330. We're going to go for about a 1450 PT with a 13. See, here's the thing. We need to give it a decent amount of room. We're looking at about 50 cents minimum. Yeah, 1280. I don't want to give it more than that. In fact, I mean, like, if you get a little lower, you could give it a little bit more room, but I would, if you did get in lower, giving it a little bit more room would definitely be beneficial, but I wouldn't risk more on the stop. 1336, that's not bad. FWBI. Yeah, back up to, wow, broke to a new high there, 418. It had to prove me wrong. It had to go a little bit higher. I see breaking down a little bit further here, so if you haven't gotten in yet, 1315 is looking pretty good. We're getting close to that 1310 range, which is where we should see a little bit of resistance, and then maybe some more at the $13 mark. We'll see what happens here. This happened on Friday too. We were getting hit with a lot of knives. I feel like that's going to happen today as well. Higher, still not really showing me much in terms of what I need to see here to jump back in on it. APDN, we're still holding some. It's moving back up here. FWBI, still seeing around that 410 mark. What else we got? We got pair popping up. So I'm not really liking ATXG too much, but maybe we do pair. Pairs, not really doing a whole lot either. Maybe CELU. Okay, so we had a nice jump. Volume's a little sporadic though, so we're probably not going to be playing that either. LPTX. Yeah, again, we have a little bit of spotty price action here. $1.50 to $1.60. It's not really moving. Like, maybe this does something. I'm not too convinced yet. Okay, so higher move back up a couple cents. It has consolidated here, so this could be good, but we need to make sure it doesn't break down further. FWBI VWAP bounce. Yeah, definitely could be a VWAP bounce, although this is sitting up pretty high already for a VWAP bounce. That MACD is overextended, so I'm not entirely convinced it's going to go much higher. What was the VWAP at? $4. I mean, like, even $4 to 420 is not a terrible nut X we could take a look at too, yeah. Yeah, not bad. Definitely a large increase in volume there, going from 250 to 317. This could be something, this could be a momentum play if it can hold that volume. That last one was a little shy on volume though, so this might be the end of the run, so we need to wait a little bit and see. Yeah, Ruby with the, yeah, I just saw that up in the corner there. Big jump on Ruby here. All the way back up. Yeah, nothing really there to play either though. Hire's looking to move up too, so we could get back in on Hire now that we see that it's consolidated and start moving up. So we go for probably VWAP entry or around VWAP, so $1.32. We're going to go for probably $1.45 and then a $1.29 stop. So we're going to give it that 3 cents. So with a $1.29, there's a good chance that you do stop out on that because that is in the bottom of the range. You could give it 4 cents if you really want to. So $1.28. We could maybe go $1.28 for a stop. We'll do that instead. At least that brings us down to like closer to the bottom there. One of my keys got stuck. There we go. All right, so we're getting very close to that entry of $1.32. If you could get in even lower, I would say that's probably beneficial in this situation too. You think FWBI is going to halt? Yeah, it might halt. It did hold that level. It does look like that MACD is a little overextended, but that's usually the case when something goes up into a halt. Wiz, you're all over the halts already. That's funny. NutX not really looking great here. We have Drug not coming back either. APDN's back at that 320 level. So if you're still holding on to APDN and you're a little concerned about it, I would say that it's probably hitting a lot of resistance around this 322, 323 area, and it's probably a good time to take most of it out anyway. CTMX, if you haven't entered yet, we're getting $1.69 on that. So decent entry point. We are waiting to see if this bounces. We do have a lot of volume disappearing here, and MACD is dropping. So I'd say if we drop down from this VWAP, it's probably a good time to just exit. 320 on APDN, that's probably a smart move. We are seeing IC bounce here, so that's good. Ruby's back down quite a bit here at $1.10, so I mean, I'd like to, ideally, if this is going to be the range, I kind of need to get in lower, like 108. So we are getting lower. We got down to $1.30 here on higher. So that's about what we were hoping for. $1.32 would have been okay, but $1.30 is definitely better. If we can get in here at $1.30, we might even get a couple cents lower here. $1.29, maybe even $1.28. Nope, going back up. So $1.29 would be great. $1.30 is just fine too. In any case, our stop can be up to 4 cents. So if we get in $1.29, our stop could be down at $1.25. I'm not expecting to see a breakdown past this support line here at $1.27. So if we saw that break of $1.27, we'd probably be looking to exit pretty quick anyway. It's good to have that extra room in case of volatility, but not necessarily going to use it. Yeah, we're not really seeing any volume on CTMX. It looks like it completely died out, so that could be a little while before we see some movement on that. We're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trades for the day. We're a little early on this. We could take a little bit of a break on that. CTMX back to $1.70 and then just back down to $1.26. I see here starting to move up a little bit. Okay. Drug still staying down really low. NutX might go for it. That MACD's turning around. Volume's picking up again, pretty steady. Yeah, let's try NutX. What's the range on NutX? That's important too. Yeah, 320, that's not bad. Okay, so let's go NutX. 290. You're gonna try for at least a 320 out of it, and then probably a 280, 283 stop. So 283 brings us down to the bottom here, which is where we want to be. IC dropping down, so there was a chance at a little bit of profit there, not a whole lot. Looks like it might stop us out. We might see a VWAP bounce here too, although that MACD is negative already, so I'd be assuming that this is going to run down into stop. $1.71 on CTMX, so we're slightly in profit. Ruby still sitting up too high, don't really want to chance that, and we are up a little bit on higher. We saw a bounce on IC actually, a decent one. A little bit better than I expected. APDN finally breaking out here, hitting that 330 mark. So that was actually our PT, APDN, and taking some more profit. 330. So we finally hit that 330 area on APDN. Took us a good long while, but we got there. I say a good long while, but it was like 18 minutes, maybe even less. IC still holding. We've got NutX looking like it's coming back up pretty good here, 295 so far. Hopefully we see at least a 310. If we see 310, I'll definitely be thinking about taking some profits, maybe even before that, like 305. 305 would be okay. FWBI coming back down. Now let's try to determine what level though. So we're probably going to see some resistance around this level here. And that happens to be right on VWAP, so this could be a VWAP bounce. IC almost stopped us out. CTMX not really doing a whole lot here, and higher drop down. Just about to the stop. For some reason didn't stop me out, although I think it should have. It looks like it just hit. Yes, these are all stocks. Why not cut IC? You could definitely cut IC. Yeah, you could definitely cut it. You could still be looking at a bounce here. I think that would be a reason to not cut it. But I mean, if you're worried about losing the profits or losing, a little bit of the profits you already have, then I would definitely be considering cutting it. But this is looking like it's holding a pretty consistent pattern. It still could work out, but we are getting very dangerously close to that stop, and I think it's a good chance that it does stop out. So, I mean, it's kind of up to you on what you want to do, whether or not you want to hold it or not. This does look like it's coming back down to stop. We talked about if it broke down from this level, it'd be a good time to exit. So hopefully on higher, most of you have exited that already. But yeah, it's just definitely crossing the stop now for sure. IC looks again like, it's got a good chance of stopping out. So that one might be another one you might want to consider exiting. APDN could still go back up and reach a new high here. NutX, we did hit as high as 315 there. Great chance to take some profits there. So let's go ahead and make sure we make a call for that. NutX, 315-ish. Tons and tons of room there to take profits. So hopefully you guys got some out of that. That was a whole like 25-cent move there. So it is back down a little bit. FWBI does bounce off that VWAP, which is what we were waiting for. I should make a call here, FWBI, to get in around that VWAP there at 410. So we're going to go for 410, 440 for a PT, and then probably just a 395. Go 396 for a stop. $396 right there. Okay, so you're looking to get in about 410. If you have to get in a couple cents higher, not the end of the world. Basically, we're just hoping this holds a VWAP. If it doesn't hold a VWAP, we have a small support area right below it. CMTX $1.69 still. Ruby back down quite a bit here, hitting $1.08. That's probably the area I could jump in on with Ruby. So we're going to go ahead for that Ruby play at $1.08. We're going to go for at least $1.20. And then we're going to actually give this a fair bit of room, and we're going to go down to $1.04. So we want this to break into a new low here before we cut. That is Ruby. So the hardest thing for me with switching IC should be dropping, into the stop here. So if you didn't take that earlier cut on IC, you are hitting that stop now. The hardest thing for me with this is like trying to lax up a little bit on the stop loss, because with a cash account, you have to limit the amount of losses you're taking. You can afford to take slightly bigger ones if you're aiming at bigger targets. So it's not necessarily the end of the world if you do hit the bigger stops, but you do need to give it a little bit more room because you can only have so many trades in a day. Versus with a margin account, you could be wrong a lot more with a lot less. NetX might go for another bounce here. We have FWBI all the way back up to 435 from our entry around 411. So it's looking pretty decent there. We did dip down to 408 there on that last candle. So maybe even got better than 410. 410 was where we were at. 411 is what I got in at, but you could get as low as 408 there. All the way up to 435. I think that's a pretty decent place to start to take some profits here. Profits 435-ish FWBI. I feel like every time I say take some profits, it dips really fast, but it's not me causing the dips because I don't have nearly enough shares to be doing that myself. CMTX is up a little bit. We're at $1.72 here. We're in a little bit of profit on this, like 3 cents. So you could take some money here. I mean, we don't have any volume, so this could be your best bet at making a little bit off this. Or you can just leave it and see what happens. This looks like it could continue up. Ruby bouncing all over the place. It did hit all the way up to $1.22 a couple candles ago. It looks like it's on its way back up. We're at $1.16, so this could be a good place to take your first little bit of profits on Ruby. Take some profits on Ruby, $1.16. Okay. Yeah, I see not looking great. It's still holding on this where we had our support area, and it's still holding this pattern. So if you had a different stop loss or you gave it more room, this is still looking fairly decent. I'd say the only bearish things right now are the bands, which are pointed down. But you got that MACD curling, you got some nice volume there. So this is definitely going to head back up in my mind. And we are maxed out on trades. So we're just looking at runners now. Other than that, everything else called will just be calls. FWBI did dip down a little bit to 405. Looks like it came back up to 425. You think it will run? Yeah. I think it has a good potential. Not a fan of Trade Zero. It takes some getting used to. The not percentage stop loss is the thing that really gets me. We just hit 325 on NutX here, 328, sorry. So we are up really high on NutX. We could definitely take some more profit. Take some profit. NutX, 328-ish. You could go for 330-ish if you want to. Or if you want to wait for that, you could definitely do that. But I'm just making sure I secure a little bit on the way up here, just to make sure we're maximizing on that profit when it's there. I see almost back to $13. CTMX at 172. We took a little bit at 172, but it is coming back down a little bit. I still think that this could be a major winner here. We just need this to push up a little bit more. And Ruby's looking all right as well. I think we're pretty safe with where our stop is at. We could just have to wait on volatility to hit up to 122. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so that's the problem that I'm having with it too. Um, so if you set your stop loss, that counts as an order for the stock, but it's not taking it as an if and then statement. It's taking it as you're trying to do both, you know? So it won't let you sell out when you have a stop. So you have to actually cancel the stop. Then you have to go and sell out the portion of your position you want to, and then you have to reapply a stop for the remainder. Yeah. So you gotta have a liquidation button for mistakes too. So if you want to take profit, you gotta kind of take profit right away on it, and liquidate the whole position. But there might be a way around that. I haven't quite figured it out. We got a couple people who use Trade Zero, and I talked to their support last time. They were pretty quick to help. So I mean, maybe there's a way around it. We did see a big dip on APDN. You think drugs reversing? Could be. Yeah, maybe. And that MACD is already up pretty good though. I'm gonna stay out of that one for sure. They're not called OCOs, they're called range orders, which you can do. You have to do it off the level 2 screen instead of the basic order entry screen. And that kind of fixes the problem. Kinda. Like sort of, I guess. But I haven't been able to mess around with it too much yet. I mean, I use the DOM. I very rarely use the full level 2. This is basically just level 1, the basic bid and ask on each side, the next best. But some people use the level 2. I find that it's a lot to look at. I use price action more than anything. We just see this jump up to $1.74 on CTMX here. Yeah, it definitely does have some support there at $1.23 or $1.22 area. It does look like it's going to bounce. I think higher's going to be a win. It's just a matter of taking it at the right time. Higher, $1.25, maybe $1.40, and a dollar, maybe just $1.20. No, that's too much. $1.21 is basically the max I think I would ever do on that. That gives it to the bottom of the band. I mean, ideally, if you could get in lower, like $1.22, you could put your stop loss maybe down at $1.17 and be safe on that 200 EMA as well, and that'd probably be best case. IC definitely making the recovery here. I should have made the call on it. APDN looks like it's also going to be heading back up here. Drug looks like it might be maxing out here. And NutX going back down to that VWAP line where it'll most likely bounce back up. FWBI still all over the place. We're still seeing it hit that 435 area. And Ruby still kind of sitting around this 113 area. Not sure what it's doing really. Yeah, IC all the way to 1340 here. SHPH. Let's take a look at that. SHPH is in fact heading up $13.90 to $18. That is quite the movement right there. That's for sure. 1640 is the new range to $19, so still decent range on it. A little high for me, but it definitely looks like it's got some moves in it. I'm not sure how much higher it's going to go right now. It's got some room with that MACD that it could still move up quite a bit. NutX is back up after hitting that VWAP. Pretty much we knew that was going to happen. CMTX all the way to $1.76. What were we aiming for? We're at $1.70 on CMTX or $1.80? I think it was $1.80. Can't remember, it was so long ago. Yeah, $1.80. We're almost there. $1.77. Take some profits. CMTX $1.70. Where are we at? $1.76, maybe $1.77-ish. We'll say. Might even get a little higher on it, but I want to make sure we're securing that on the way up. Yeah, Shippa is at $19 and halted, it looks like. What the hell was that candle? It was a nasty. It's like it's got the volatility. It's just not going anywhere with it, you know? It's like consolidating with volatility. It's weird. It's gonna choose a direction eventually and go. It has to, but what direction that's gonna be is kind of hard to tell at this point. You know, we've got both bullish and bearish candles all over the place in here, so yeah. CMTX hits high there, $1.77 on its way back down slightly here. Ruby's on its way down, but that bottom band is closing upwards, which is a good sign of consolidation. So it's probably going to meet back at $1.13 here for a little while. Should anyway. FWBI back up to that 430 area. SHPH halted. IC back down. We could take a play on this. And when I mean we, I kind of mean you. Seems kind of weird. Down at 1290 would be probably the best place to get in. So I'm going to go ahead and say I see 1290. Going to go for probably 1350 at the least, and then like a 1270. Is that like a safe zone here? Not really. Probably 1260 is the next safe zone. So we'll go 1260 on that. So your stop loss is going to be about 1260 right down here, somewhere like that. Entry point is going to be probably 1290 here. We'll make that a yellow one. And then your PT is going to be about 1340, 1350. So, I mean, anywhere in this range is probably good, but 1350 is where you're going to want to take your exit. Ruby's still looking good. Higher looks like it did bounce off that $1.22, $1.23 area. So that's looking good too. Hey, you're getting there. I mean, I wouldn't even say you're learning. I mean, you've been doing well since you got here, so has nothing to do with us. That's all you. You already know this stuff. Maybe this is just like confidence boosting for you. 1330 here on IC. Didn't quite get down to where we were thinking for an entry. NutX on its way back up. We've got FWBI. It does hit that high 434 there, but I think it's going to go higher. It's got to go higher. Ruby at $1.12, so it did consolidate the right way. That bottom band looks like it's opening up, which is not a good sign, so it might end up moving back down now. Higher looks like it is going to continue moving up. Might be getting rejected at that $1.27 resistance line. There's the IC all the way up to that 1350. So that's price target hit. So if you jumped in, you're hitting PT on that. Like just at it. I think it might actually even break through. That MACD still has lots of room. So there's a good potential this actually does take off quite a bit more. We've got CTMX all the way back down to $1.71 after hitting that $1.77. We've got Ruby here, still kind of struggling, but it is sitting on that 200 EMA currently, so I think NutX has a lot of potential as well, so I think I'd like to see people get into NutX. Nope, NutX, not Nutsy. NutX around that VWAP line, so we'd be looking at about 304 now, but we're probably going to be looking at about 305, maybe 306 in the near future here. Up to 330, and then like a 295 stop. So we're going to give it that about 10 cent stop. So you got your stop. Okay, so price target's going to be about 330. Then you're going to have that 295 stop, and you're going to be looking to get in about 305. Okay. CTMX not looking too bad here. IC still looks a little bullish here. It might end up moving back up. Ruby breaking down a little bit. IC back up to 1350. Not seeing a lot in terms. There's a little bit of resistance in this area that I could see maybe carrying over, but not a lot. Looks like it's coming back down. Could be another good entry here, getting in around that 1290 or maybe $13 point. I'm bringing back up to that 1350. That could be another good trade right there. Higher has like no volume. Yeah, it's definitely been lowering on volume. It's one of those really slow moving stocks. So we see higher going from $1.25 or $1.23 even. I'd say we're pretty lucky if this hits $1.30 at this point or $1.31. It's moving that slow. NutX not really moving either. FWBI not really doing much. SHPH is down currently, but that doesn't mean a whole lot. Not yet. Looks like it might move back up. That MACD is pretty pointed down right now though. The volume's pretty low. Not seeing much in terms of momentum play here. Higher was the big one. That's funny. Yeah, I mean sometimes you get that, right? Sometimes you get the slow day after the long weekend. That's usually the case. Looks like IC is breaking through finally. It actually did just touch that $13 mark and then shoot right back up. So could have had a whole nother play there for 50, 60 cents. Ruby, that bottom band is still opening up pretty wide. It hasn't broken into a new low yet, which is definitely a good sign. CTMX not doing anything. There you go. What are you on, a 2-day streak now? What did you make it to last time? Was it like just straight 1 month and then you hit a red day, or was it a month and a week? I can't remember. Or a month and a couple days? 1 month, 1 day. All right, so that's the record you got to beat. You got to go 1 month and 2 days this time. Hopefully more, but 1 month, 2 days. That's the minimum. Yeah, today starts the new streak. FWBI looks like it should be breaking out here anytime, but we said that earlier too, and it still hasn't, so Really not sure what to tell you with FWBI. I really thought we were going to see a little bit more than this 30 cent range, but I mean, it's not a terrible range. You could be scalping this pretty consistently if you wanted to, but it's kind of hard to say. That's how you should be playing it. Just don't change your trades. The only thing that margin should be there for is for you to take the size trades that you're comfortable with and just be able to take the freedom to take more if you want to take more trades, right? That's all. That's all margin's for. Unless you're with Ross Cameron, in which case he's going to tell you to max out every trade with margin and leverage and, go 100x on him or whatnot. But um, unless you're training with him, most people are going to tell you to use margin in a smart way. What's 916 Zom? That looks to me like a contract. 916 com would probably be some sort of contract. I don't do contracts, I don't do options, so I'm not actually sure. You think drug's gonna move? I don't know, man. If it is, it's gonna do it slowly, I can tell you that. Ruby did break a new low, but it looked like it got pushed back off after that, so that's kind of a good sign. NutX all the way here, looking like it's going to hit that 330 mark finally. I see so slow. Everything's so slow, but you're seeing some extra profits. I knew it was going to push above it eventually, and it did. It's getting there. $13.85. Almost at that $14 level. If you see $14 off this could actually start to make a bigger move. I know we have some pre-market resistance higher up, like even 14.20, but I think breaking that $14 psychological barrier could really send us flying. SHPH is definitely moving here. Looking pretty good with that too, going from $17 to $20. So this could be a stock that you might want to play. Um, use a typical 3 to 5% stop. It's pretty volatile though, so you need to pick a good area to get in. That's for sure. FWBI finally breaking out a little bit here, just a tiny bit, couple extra cents there. So that could be a good sign. We're seeing a nice little run up here. NutX doesn't quite make it to that 330 yet. We got a couple cents to go. IC heading back down a little bit after hitting that 1380 mark, and we have Ruby back up finally, looking at that 1330 or $1.13, not 1330. FWBI back down now. It hasn't broken. If it breaks down any further, it'll have broken that small trend, but it hasn't yet. Is this a pullback off the uptrend? I think we've already hit the first pullback on it. I think we're aiming for a second pullback at this point. Second pullback could go down back to about $13, but I don't know if it's quite ready for that yet. Might hit another high here first. Ruby's at $1.14. Top band starting to open up, $1.15 here. CTMX not doing anything. I see, yeah, I think it's going to bounce off this area, this 1350 that it struggled to get through last time. I think it's going to bounce off here. APDN not doing anything. .x finally hits that 330 mark. Oh my god, that took forever. I think that was PT on NutX. Yeah, 320 was PT. Never mind. I was waiting for 330. Oh, right, because last play, yeah, that's PT, NutX. Took some time to get there. SHPH not really looking too bad yet, but I would like to see this come at least back down to that $19 range. FWBI breaking that small uptrend, going back down to VWAP as it has been for like the last hour. NutX holding that 330 position currently. Looks like it might push higher. IC back up. So it wasn't ready for that pullback yet, so I think we're gonna go and break that new high soon. Ruby pushed to that 115 area. It looks like it's back down to 113. I see at that $14 level, just broke that $14 level. Looks like it's going to start pushing now because it broke that psychological barrier. Would be very nice if it could break it, but we did hit that 130 level, and that was something on higher that we didn't think that was going to come very easily, and it really didn't, but we could definitely look to take some profits here. I know it's really like not a lot of profit, but I would definitely be taking it, at least some of it. Nudex pushes to 340 here, and that's a good place to take some more profits as well. Take some more profits. Nudex. 340. FWBI breaking down. All right, so this is the point where I'd say if you're still in this, you might be considering exiting, or at least very soon. If it breaks down any further, you're going to have like a complete breakdown. Yeah, there you go. That's a complete breakdown right there. It's like, it's almost like I know what I'm doing sometimes. It's this weird feeling. NutX looks like it might break out here. If it can, it just needs to break that 340. It's going to be a psychological barrier. This thing isn't moving very fast. There we go, 344. A little bit of a rejection. I see, still holding that $14 mark. It hit a high there of almost 14.20. So let's go back to our trades and see what we got going on here. So NutX, we're taking profits around that 340 area. Higher when it hit that 130 area, we're going to take some profits on that. Besides that, IC is at $14 from our 1290-ish entry. So that's not bad. Definitely should help people to take profits on that. I actually forgot that I had called that out earlier. So the next level we'd be looking to take some profits at is probably 1450, but I mean, you could do it sooner. There's definitely a level there you could take some profits. FWBI off the 200 could definitely be a potential play. I know it just had a massive breakdown. This could be due for a nice recovery off that, so it's tough to say, but I think I might. Yeah, I think I would. I think I would FWBI. Just as a lotto play. 390, we're going to go for 420. And then a 380 stop loss. Yeah, 380 stop loss. I'm okay with that. So stop loss going to be 380. Entry is going to be about 390. So right where we touched here. Oops, that's supposed to be yellow. And then PT is going to be about 420. So a long ways up. I think it's going to get there, though. IC starting to break down a little bit here. Ruby not doing a whole lot. Higher back at 127. We're seeing a slight uptrend on higher here. Not like a huge one by any means, but we're seeing at least a little bit of an uptrend. I would almost even say a channel here. Do I think NutX is done? I wouldn't say, I mean, done on this run, maybe. I think it's going to come back down. It might come down to about 325 before a bounce, but I'd be watching that 325 area carefully because it could break down from 325 pretty quick and end up coming down to VWAP 315, and that's going to be too much of a stop, I think. So I would watch 325. It looks like it's going to turn around, head back up, get in at 325 or maybe a little bit higher if you have to wait a little bit. Besides that, though, I'd be looking at maybe trying for a 315 VWAP bounce. All right, so SHPH is looking pretty good down here. So I would say if you're, you know what? That MACD's really close to that zero line, though, and that really worries me. So I wouldn't be jumping in quite yet. I'd wait to see if it bounces or falls through on that. FWBI still sitting around that 390 area, but it did drop down to 386 there, so that's not necessarily what we were hoping to see. We were hoping to see quite a speedy recovery off this, and it's not quite happening the way we want it to. Higher took a nasty drop as well, breaking trend. Go ahead and delete those trend lines now because they don't matter. Paper trading $1,000 trades and made 450. Way to go. That's pretty good. Ruby's on its way back up, 1250. We have FWBI moving back up as well. That's looking a little bit better now. And we did break bearish on SHPH, which is why we were waiting. So this is most likely, I don't know, we already broke bearish, so it might still bounce off VWAP here. It's gonna be tough though. Have to wait and see. We are getting there though. We'll see here pretty quick. It's so weird when you look at the trade track and you're like, oh yeah, okay, so we were up $120 on the first day, then $130. Today we're up $82 because it was, pretty slow. I mean, we still have to factor in some of the scale outs on some of the things heading up still, but besides that, yeah, we're making like chump change still. It's still so tiny. With a $5,000 account, but that's just kind of how it goes with the cash account. You gotta build up real slow. I think until we hit I know the last little stretch might be really quick. When you get up to about $15,000, $20,000, hitting 30,000 off that probably happens pretty quick. Starting with 5,000 and making your way to that level though, that could take a while. That's why I was saying this could be, maybe it's not going to be a monthly challenge. This is going to be something that could take us a couple months to build the account that high. So we'll have to wait and see how long that takes. At this rate, we might hit 7,000 or 8,000 by the end of the month. That wouldn't be too bad. I mean, even with a $5,000 cash account, if you can make $3,000 off that in a month, that'd be pretty amazing. We need some actual good days though. Like the entire time we started this challenge has been just kind of crap in the market. So we're still kind of waiting on that to pick back up because last month was killer. We made, I can't even remember how much, like 5 million or something. So although that was again with margin, not cash account. So this one's going to be slower no matter what. But if we could get some good days, that would be nice. Ruby's sitting here at $1.14. Looks like it's going to head up here pretty quick. NutX heading back down. Until it's a bull market. Yeah, but if the thing is, if you can do it in a bear market, it's not even about the money. It's about proving you can do it, right? So I would prefer to do it in a bear market and show people that you don't need a lot of money, even in a bear market, to make money. And we'll just see how. I don't care if it takes 2 months or 3 months or whatever. I mean, at least it's something different. We've been doing basically the same kind of challenge the whole way through. Plus, I'm not really like too keen on playing when we have like $1 million in the account or above, because then position sizes just get too big and it's extra managing. You got to be extra careful. It's easier when you're playing with these smaller amounts anyway. It's a little more realistic too. I never really want people placing $1 million trades. I think that's just crazy. Risk reward issues, yeah. Yeah, I don't think anybody here will be placing $1 million trades in the next couple of years at least. And if you are, that would be scary. I would be scared for you. It gets especially if it's like your first couple $1 million or anything, it gets pretty risky. You get the sweats. Big red. Yeah, the whole market for the last 3 days has been pretty crap, so finally seeing some extra profit here on Ruby hitting $1.17. Still would be nice to hit $1.22 here. I see back to $14 here. Was the best stock of the day. It's looking pretty close to being the best stock of the day, that's for sure. Well, let's see here. What's the low? The low is 1230 to a high here of 1418. So I kind of want to quickly, let's see. What did I say? 1280? 1230. 1230 to 1418 is a maximum of 15% gain. So now let's try Ruby. So if you go from like $1.05 to $1.22, you're looking at a potential 16% gains. So this is where you got to be careful, right? And this is why stuff like IC tricks people very much, because it does, dollar wise, this looks like you're getting more value out of it when really you're not. So if you took this from the bottom here, the very bottom to the very top, you'd be looking at 15%. Where Ruby, which doesn't look very good and it's only $1 stock, if you took this from the bottom and you got it all the way to the top here, you'd be looking at 16%. So technically Ruby's better. But it doesn't look as good. Where when you get something like IC here, it just looks better because it's, well, the chart looks nice anyways, and you have a little bit more liquidity in it and a little bit more stability. Do any of the admins here use Webull? Need to get some help answering some questions with hotkeys. Yeah, I don't know, because a lot of our staff is Canadian and we can't use it. I think who's on staff that's American? Wiz is American. I'm not sure if he uses. I know he doesn't use it now, but he might have in the past. But I can tell you right now that the hotkeys suck on Webull. IC is up 20% more. If you're counting pre-market, yeah. But it depends on if you were trading pre-market, right? I don't trade pre-market, so I only count data that happens after market opens. I think Ruby has a lot more potential. We're hitting 119 here, so this is another good place to take some profits. Taking some profits on Ruby 119. Wouldn't that mean it has more liquidity? I wouldn't say that gains equal liquidity, but I know that if you're looking at what has more liquidity, it would be something that has more float and more shares being traded, which is probably IC just based off the volume that I see. It's funny. But you don't necessarily always want more liquidity. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish. So, like with IC, the more liquidity that you have, the harder it's going to be to move that price higher. Where something with Ruby, there's like a sweet spot. You want enough liquidity that you don't have a bad spread, but you don't want too much liquidity so that you're not, stuck in a price range forever. Like higher probably has more liquidity, or maybe not. Maybe it's just less conviction on this one. This probably isn't the best example. I think it's less conviction in this case, but some stocks will have more liquidity and they move less. Like if you look at stuff like Apple or Amazon or any of that, like they don't really move very much because they have so much liquidity that there's so many people willing to buy and sell in such a small range that it doesn't cause any big price fluctuations. 1430 is good enough? Yeah, no kidding. CTMX down to $1.70 here. Ruby's at $1.18. Hit that $1.19. Still waiting on $1.22 to take out the last bid, I think. NutX looks like it did consolidate around the 325 area, which is pretty much exactly where I said it was going to come down to. And it looks like it's probably going to move back up here. SHPH, reason we didn't touch it, broke down from that MACD there, and it continued to break down, so we never ended up touching that. And FWBI, so slow. It looks like we're just going around this range now at that 390 area, so that could take some time before we see anything good out of that. But we're basically out of time for the day, so let's just go over our trades. We still have a couple runners open, which, I'll close out whenever the time's right. But so far we made 122 bucks for the day, so we beat our first day by a couple cents, but we didn't beat our second day. We definitely got more in fees today, so that's not exactly great. But we are up $374 on the account over 3 days, which, I guess that's okay. It'll get bigger as we go on. And our win rate is currently sitting at 66%, so we got to work on that. Once the market starts to turn out, we start seeing some more volatility in the market, we'll probably end up with a little bit more or a little bit better of a win rate as well. So other than that, yeah, I guess we did okay today. Again, like today was something where if we didn't take the first 10 trades right away and we waited a little bit, I think we could have made more money on stuff like IC or Ruby, stuff like, there you go, 1450 right there. That would be your next point to take profits. But yeah, other than that, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you made some money, and I will see you guys again tomorrow. Yeah, I should have waited. All right, take care, guys.